Well, my last video got a lot of watch hours, like watch time, and it got a lot of views, and I'm quite surprised. Um, I guess I'm kind of a small influencer. Not really very small. I would say a micro influencer, if that's a thing. And that's how I want it to be. I never want this channel to be too large. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is I don't have the best internet history. Like I've had a fair share of fights in the past with some things I said that I regret and everything. And the second thing is that it takes away from the uniqueness of everything, right? So if I start getting 150, 200, 2,000 comments, then, things won't be so special anymore. Like getting 1 or 2 comments, I can't engage with all you at that point. Yes, I get it.
A friend?
Quite the opposite.
And I'll start fixating on the channel's numbers more and more.
No, this is something different.
Yes.
Meet me at the Jacuzzi when you can.
Right, and basically the goal of the channel would change for the worse, right? I would try to appeal to get as many views as possible. All I would care about are my numbers going up, and it would take away from the uniqueness of being able to see and reply to comments on this channel. I've always wanted this to be a small channel, a micro channel. I don't want it to be very large. So, and the third thing is, as soon as I get popular, I'll be recognized everywhere I go. And that I would never want to happen. I'm an introvert. I like to go places and not be recognized, This is the thing, is that people like Wheat Waffles, I think, got tired of it, because he was a black pill influencer. I'm kinda black pill. I'm like black pill, red pilled. That kind of mix. I think money and looks are the two things that matter for a relationship. Money to maintain it for sure, and looks to initiate it. So, anyways, I think people like Wheat Waffles got tired of all of the horse shit that came, and this is why I want this channel to be small. I don't ever want any of that, right? It would fundamentally change the channel's purpose. So anyways, right, and like I said, I don't have the best internet history. I've been set up to do bad things, like it was the other person's fault, not my fault kind of setup. I've been in fights, I've said things I regret, things like that, So, if you become popular, all of that shit will eventually be released, and I don't want that, right? I mean, you could probably cancel most people that are on the internet for things that they've done in the past. I mean, there's obviously a point where, it's like unforgivable, right? But I'm sure everybody's had a fair share of bad things, and the internet will shine on the bad things that you've committed, right? Which is another reason why I don't want to get big. I'm anxious about it. So yeah, I want to keep this channel micro small channel. So anyways, where I was, I guess today we're going to talk about kind of what I've been doing, So I've been playing with my online friends on things like Roblox. Yes, I play Roblox. The reason why is because, it was my childhood game. I'm an OG. I'm from 2011. And I was playing Juke's Tower of Hell. And basically, it was like I was doing the Tower of Heck, and I kept falling. But what's important to remember is that although I may have ended off in the... I think you have to finish the tower in one sitting. But although I ended off in the white section, the thing is that... holy shit. 2 rocks, 2 planes. Gives me a familiar reference. So anyways, as I was saying, I was playing Duke's Tower of Hell, and I ended off in in the white, which is the very start, if you know Tower of Hell games, and, well, I guess it's a good thing, because when you think about the scheme of things, I made progress. I might as well be halfway up the tower. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you're inevitably going to fall, especially because some of the parts are not friendly for first-timers, even no matter how experienced they are, right? So there's ones that make you slide, ones that make you speed up, ones that make the blocks fall faster, unless you have a very high processing speed, maybe like 145, it's not going to matter, you're just going to fall, and you're going to have to start over again. So knowing is a lot of the battle when it comes to Duke's Tower of Hell. So if you could physically place me anywhere on the tower, I would probably be higher than where I am, if that makes sense. If you can physically put me on the tower in the scheme of progress, that's kind of how it would be. So, yeah, that's how it's going with Duke's Tower of Hell. Let's see, what else is going on? So I'm still waiting for, well, we'll give an update later on that. I took the JCTI, and I scored 133 on that, which is around the top 1%. They say the test is deflated. Really hard test. You guys should probably take it. It has good correlation with IQ and with the SATs and like important college admissions tests and stuff like that. So yeah, I scored between the 98th and maybe 99th percentile on that too, which is very nice. What else has been going on? You know, I'm going down to my mother's house in July, July 20th. I'm going down, so about a week from now, I'm going down, and I'm going to say hi to her, and I'm kind of nervous. So what's been going on is, she basically has problems where her AC doesn't work. It's likely due to a lack of Freon. Her AC doesn't work, and let's see what else. Her AC doesn't work. Oh, and she has a roach infestation, right? So that's the thing, is like, I'm nervous of coming down given those conditions. Like, I thought she would have been settled in by now, but I guess her AC stopped working. As far as the roaches, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when this happened, but as far as the AC, I think she got settled in. It was fine. And then it was fine. And then it stopped working. And so that, I think, is a problem. But I'm not looking forward to, let's say, what, like 90-degree weather? Because here's the thing, Eastern Texas is less hot than Western Texas, because she used to be in Western Texas, and then she moved to Eastern Texas because of a job. And we're going to get into that today, alright? We're going to get into that. Hold on. I gotta be right back. Really quick. Like 30 seconds. Sorry, I had to use the bathroom. I will be reviewing that footage, and I will be seeing... And yes, I did wash my hands in that short period of time. Yes, I did. So anyways, as I was saying, she moved there because of a job, and Western Texas is more generally air temperature hot, like hotter, but less humidity, whereas Eastern Texas is less hot temperature-wise, but way higher humidity. And so the whole state, no matter which side you go to, has high heat index values, if that makes sense. Both parts of the state, just for different reasons, right? So they both feel the same. Now, here's the thing about my mother, right? She moved to Eastern Texas in a small town, actually fairly large, because she thought that she would have a good time there. And she needed to get away from her employer. Now, this is the thing with my mom, right? She has problems with 2 employers in the past. So what can you predict? If she has problems with the first employer, okay, maybe it is a bad employer. If she has a problem with the second employer, then all of a sudden it makes it seem like maybe it's her and not the employer, right? Because 2 shitty employers in a row is quite less common, and I believe in the past she's even had problems with other employers. So you can pretty much guarantee that her job that she's so, happy for and thankful for, it's not going to go her way, and she's going to be complaining about her employer again. The second thing that I found interesting is when you think of humans, we are one of the only animals, mammals in particular, that does not scout out an area before moving to it. I understand we can't travel across the nation from one place to another to check out what it's like. I understand that. Humans have a larger habitat area than any other species in the world, obviously, right? We live in 6 continents. 7 if you want to include the few people that are in Antarctica, but not really Antarctica. Right. As soon as they find something valuable in Antarctica, all the countries are going to want to claim it. So anyways, right, the humans live on 6 continents. People look for work across the United States and live in the U.S. And so we don't always have time to go over and view what it's like. But the thing is that, again, humans are one of the only animals that does not scout out an area before living in it, right? I'm sure snakes, I'm sure beavers, I'm sure every animal looks at a place and decides, is this a good place to get food, to get what? Well, we don't have the same struggles, but you get the point. Is it a good place to live? Right? We have different needs from these other animals, but is this a good place to live? If it is, they live there. If not, they don't. And this is the thing is, when it comes to my mother, she doesn't do that. She doesn't try to find out things like what to do there, what it's like, what the culture is like. And so she basically moves to a city, and she's done this before, and in a few years she gets really tired of it. Right? So she used to live in Maine, then she lived in Western Texas, then she lived in Eastern Texas, and she couldn't handle Eastern Oklahoma when my dad and her were together a long time ago because it was too hot. Right? So this is the thing, is that she always has a problem with everywhere that she lives, and she always thinks that moving is going to solve all of her issues when she shouldn't be thinking that. Right? So basically, her job does not give her a huge pay raise. It's like $5,000 a year more, right? And this is near a college. So things are expensive. I mean, so is our old town. But it's, for $5,000 a year or $4,000 a year more, I guess it can be worth it depending on who you are, like what your salary is. For her, she makes $50,000 a year or so. I know I'm kind of giving away too much information. It's not too much information. It's not like you know who my mother is, right? So she makes like a good $50,000 a year, and so $55,000 a year, I guess that will make a sizable difference. But to move halfway across Texas, 3/4 of the way through Texas, have no idea where you're going, and I mean, it's just, you know, it's she needed to consider moving first more before she committed to it, because $5,000 more is great, but I don't know if it's worth it enough to abandon everything you know, right, and your entire lifestyle back in your own town in Western Texas, right? Even if you are making $50,000 a year, I just don't think that it'll make that big of a difference when you take out taxes for everything. You know, having a couple $1,000s a year was a couple hundred more a month. And here's the thing: is that the price of the cost of living, I believe, is higher where she is. Right, so it takes away from some of the meat that she quote-unquote gets. So at the end of the day, we're left with a lobster. She's getting a lobster, like, little limb of a lobster, basically, with a little bit of meat in it. Like a crab leg, but it's like 3/4 of the way eaten. Right, just a little scrap of meat, and the meat is money. Right, and she hasn't even checked out her place, what it's like. She hasn't gone on Google Maps and tried to look at locations and what the town is like by satellite, and read reviews of the restaurants and the nice things to do. I almost guarantee you she hasn't. Right? She just decided, hey, it's an escape from my old job, so I'm gonna go over here. The thing is, it may be worse than your old job, right? How do you know? So, and the move's gonna cost you a lot of money. Now, she did get a house, and it's in a semi-safe neighborhood. So it's a cheap house, and the cheaper the houses are, the sketchier they are, right? Generally that's true. So it's not like she lives in a neighborhood where if you step outside you could get shot. But there are some, I mean, it's low crime rate, but it's still sketchy. It's just kind of sketchy. Like, you wouldn't want to walk out at night. Like, exercise increased caution, but like do not live there, right? Kind of exercise increased caution kind of neighborhood. Yes, I use travel advisories to describe neighborhoods. That's not a bad way of looking at it. So, yeah, I mean, that's what's going on with her. She never considers the fact that maybe it's her that's the issue when it comes to her war with employers. And that, she needs to think more about moving to a place, right? And here's another thing. She's online dating this guy that lives several hundred miles away, right? Lives in her old town in Western Texas, and she's in Eastern Texas, right? Which is horrible, because the lack of physically being there is going to... she's crazy over this guy, right? She's like, I love you, I'm gonna break up with you, I can't deal with you anymore, but I love you, but I hate you. And she's just so obsessed over this guy, she will never stop thinking of him. And she's gonna go insane, because while they're together in a loving relationship, and as their attraction grows, they won't be able to overcome the increasing demand for physically being there together. Right? My mom is kind of crazy. She's with a guy, they're both kind of whack, I guess. I've online dated before. It was on a game. It wasn't, like I knew him in real life or anything. was on a game as a kid. And while you could argue that that's not really the same, especially since it was somebody that she knows in real life, the similarity and the most important thing is that the lack of physical attraction is there, right? I mean, I've seen people and what they've looked like when I've dated them. I've dated guys and girls online. Well, boys and girls, because when I was a minor at the time when I dated, right? So I was also a boy, right? So I dated boys and girls in the past, online. I don't do it anymore as an adult, obviously. It's just when I was a minor, I dated. I mean, it's common. You date other people online in games. It's a very common thing to do when you're an adolescent boy. So, like a teenager, right? So, right. I've dated with guys and girls before online, and I can tell you that the lack of physical closeness drives you crazy after a while. Like, it drives you crazy because they're like the perfect person and they're just not there in real life. Right? And it's terrible because real life dating is terrible in general. Especially like on Grindr or Tinder or whatever. Well, I'm comparing like a dating game when I was a kid, like dating on a game as a kid to adult dating apps. But that's the only thing I can compare it to, is that like let's just say it like this, right? Like they seem like the perfect person when they're online, like they're the absolute perfect person, and it's really nice because everyone else in your real life seems like a shithead. Seems, you know, they don't want to get together, they want to tease people, they don't want to settle, they're spoiled rotten, and this online person just seems like the best person ever, right? And that's part of the reason why I think a lot of people struggle with online relationships, is it's the perfect person, yet I can never see them in real life, right? And in a way, I guess it kind of makes sense, because a lot of people interact with more online people than real life people, and there are a lot more people, obviously, online, that live, you know, halfway across the United States. I'm just talking about online dating in general, right? Halfway across the United States or the world, right? And so you'll find somebody that's probably closer to you. Statistically, you'll find somebody, well, not really, I mean, it's subjective, right? Closer, like, same values, same outlook in life, stuff like that. That's, like, subjective. But statistically speaking, I think people would say that they find people, that it's more likely for them to find people that live in a bigger radius away than a closer radius. Right. That's what I would say, right? Because the bigger the radius, the more people there are, right? And the more people there are, the higher probability that there'll be a match. So that's what I feel like, is like most people are incompatible, but you're more likely to find somebody that's compatible with you far away. And the lack of physical attraction will drive you crazy, and you know it's because most people are incompatible in your area that you know in real life, right? You just can't get with them, there's no dating opportunities, they just all suck, except for this one person online. So, yeah, I mean... Right. Well, I'm gonna go. So see ya.